Good. All right, good evening. I'll call to order the regular meeting of the Hampton Township Council for Wednesday, April 24th, 2024, and we'll start with the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Ms. Blackburn?
Present.
Ms. Fritsch?
Present.
Mr. Midgley?
Present.
Mr. Scholle?
Present.
Dr. Johnson?
Present.
Mr. Speakman?
Present.
All right, first item on the agenda, can I get a motion to approve the minutes from the regular meeting held Wednesday, March 27th, 2024, and the special meeting and the public hearing and the agenda meeting held April 10th, 2024?
So moved. Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Blackburn?
Abstain for March 27th, approved for April 10th.
Ms. Fritsch?
Favor.
Mr. Midgley?
Favor.
Mr. Scholle?
Favor.
Dr. Johnson?
Favor. All right, next item on the agenda is citizens' agenda matters. If anyone has anything that they would like to address to council, please step up to the microphone and state your name and address and your concern.
Hello, Brian King, 2700 West Hardee's. Some of you guys might know me from previous meetings.
Yes, hello, Mr. King.
How are you?
Good. How are you this evening?
I had a question about the Fry Cane plan.
Sure.
So there was some delineated wetlands on the property, and I've asked before to see if I can figure out if they're going to be re-staked out, because they're not staked anymore. And it's right in the entrance, and I haven't gotten any information back from it. So was that done?
Amanda, are you able to answer that?
Before they start construction, they would have to delineate the wetlands. I believe that they had surveyors out there, and it's shown on the plan, and that was a point of contention that we've been going through as a part of the review process, because there is a 100-foot setback from that they had to observe.
Right.
So before they would start construction, though, if they get approval,
Right.
those would have to be staked out.
So right when they were doing the tree harvest down there for the Zucchitis, those stakes were taken out. And by doing that, when they put the entrance in, they've cleared it. And when they cleared it, now people are dumping on it. I've said this in emails, and I had a huge concern for a long time, and I'm not getting any answers. So with those stakes not being there now, and they were before, the wetlands are possibly ruined.
How soon can we get those restaked?
Yeah, I can see if they can go out and restake them. Are you talking about the tree harvest that happened?
With Zucchitis, whenever he did.
Yeah, I mean, that was probably
6 years ago?
2015. Yeah, it was quite a while ago. And what you said, there's people dumping down there?
I have it in an email that I've sent to you multiple times.
Okay. I will
Multiple.
have them see if I can have them restake that.
And I'm not getting anywhere with it, so.
Can we also post signs to indicate no littering, no dumping permitted?
Yes.
They do it, no one cares. They do it at night. Thank you. But it's a concern, and I just haven't gotten any answers. So, is it in the print that there's, have they showed you prints for the property? Is it surveyed?
We've seen plans for the property where they have delineated out the wetlands.
So it's on the prints?
I believe it is.
Yeah.
It is?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right. I wasn't sure. I haven't seen the plans, so. All right. I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Does anyone else have anything that they'd like to address to council? All right, let's move on to administration then, please. First item?
Yes, the Clearview Road Bridge projects are our largest capital project this year. We're going to replace the existing span with a span that is slightly wider. As a result, we had to get easements from the property owners on both sides. Both the property owners, Route 8 Development and A&D Holdings LLC, have executed the easements on their behalf. I'm just seeking authorization from council to execute the easements on behalf of the township. So.
Okay, does anyone have any questions? All right, then can I get a motion to authorize the manager to execute the easement agreements for the Clearview Road Bridge Replacement Project on behalf of the township?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Fritsch?
Favor.
Mr. Midgley?
Favor.
Mr. Sholey?
Favor.
Ms. Blackburn?
Favor.
Dr. Johnson?
Favor. Next item.
Yeah, so as everyone's aware from our discussion at the last meeting, the Allegheny Land Trust is looking to acquire property off of Big Rock Road. It's an unbuilt phase of the Hemlocks plan. They are requesting that we exonerate the liens and penalties on all parcels in that plan. The reason it went to all parcels instead of those 91 is they're still working through some of the acquisition on some previous parcels. They're not certain there's any delinquencies or anything like that associated with those parcels as well. What I would say to you is and the exoneration should be contingent upon these properties being acquired by the land trust, and they'd subsequently be transferred over to North Park and expand the size of North Park by 22 acres. Given the fact that the property's never going to be developed, there's no public infrastructure back there, the odds of us ever getting the value of the liens is pretty much zero. I think this is actually a worthy cause to do it, and it will be a benefit to our residents to see North Park expanded. So my recommendation is that we exonerate the liens and the liens for all the parcels in the Hemlocks plan, the liens and penalties, and on the contingent upon them being acquired by the Allegheny Land Trust. We will not be absorbing any legal fees to file this or anything like that either. So I know that was a point of contention. We will not be paying any fees for their acquisition.
All right, does anyone have any additional questions related to this item? All right, then can I get a motion to approve the tax and lien exoneration for all of the parcels in the Hemlocks Conservation Plan on the condition that they are acquired by the Allegheny Land Trust per the manager's memo dated April 3rd, 2024?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Midgley?
Favor.
Mr. Sholey?
Favor.
Ms. Blackburn?
Favor.
Ms. Fritsch?
Favor.
Dr. Johnson?
Favor. All right, the next item is the North Hills Council of Governments monthly report. However, the executive board did not meet this month. We only meet every other month, so I will defer to the manager if he has anything that he would like to report from the manager's meeting.
No, I don't have anything to report.
All right.
We'll be meeting again next Friday.
All right, then Water Authority monthly report. Is there anything to add, or are there any questions? All right, Engineers monthly report. Anything to add or any questions?
No, nothing to add.
All right. Legal Counsel monthly report.
Nothing to add unless you have a question.
Wait, did I miss one?
No.
Okay. All right. Did anyone have any questions about the Legal Counsel monthly report then? All right. Controller's monthly report, please.
Again, I have very little to nothing to say. Revenues are in line with our budget. We're about 100,000 ahead on EIT, a little bit behind on deed transfer, but that looks good, and expenses are in line with our budget and comparable to the prior year, so nothing to be concerned about at this time, unless you have any questions.
Doesn't appear so. Thank you. Information Technology monthly report. Anything to add? All right. And I have nothing to add to the library report unless there are any questions. All right. Public Safety.
I have nothing to add to my report unless there are questions.
Does not appear so. EMS monthly report, please.
Well, I won't be more than 15 minutes or so.
You missed last month's meeting,
That's right.
so you know.
True,
It's
true.
only fair.
Yep, I won't be very long at all. Each of you should have received my report for the month as far as data is concerned. For the month of March, we answered a total of 132 calls, same exact number as the previous year, same month. 543 calls in total for the service, transported 393 patients. Year to date, we've answered a total of 1,648 calls in the first 3 months. No other things that really stand out for the response times. We had actually a couple of 12-minute response times. Well, one 12-minute response time for E0s and a couple of them for 13-minute response time for E1s. And they're just within the normal range sometime when we're going long distance with the township and so forth. And there was no bad outcomes or anything specifically that caused that. The only couple of things to report is we're well underway with the subscription program. The reminder mailing will be coming out in about 3 weeks. and we've had pretty good response to that so far. And last is just a thanks. As all of you know, I had an opportunity with the group that I'm in to do a presentation at the Allegheny League of Municipalities Conference. And some of you were able to be there, some of you came back to do things for your township duties, and wrote me a very nice letter of endorsement of the work that we do. And it was very, very appreciated, first of all, and second, we just had a bunch of good conversation after the fact that people attended and still getting some follow-up information. So it's great to be able to talk to a room full of people that do what you all do across the county, and know that we just don't have those issues, but help other people hopefully work through theirs. So thank you all for that.
Thank you.
Unless any questions, that's my report.
Disregarding the bias, it was probably the best presentation of the week.
Wow.
Honestly, honestly, it was.
Thank you.
It was very good.
Thank you, I appreciate that. It was fun to do, and has led to some pretty good conversation.
And there's no traction to add Sharpsburg to our name.
No, Aetna would be.
Aetna, sorry.
No, I understand. And he knows that very well. He's new as the mayor in Aetna, and we'd had that conversation, and he understands specific reasons for it, but I thought it was a pretty good job.
Yeah.
Well, I was very sorry to miss your presentation, but I did fill up several bags of trash.
Well, I could probably have a video somewhere if you're really interested.
Actually, I would be.
Well, I don't, but I could. Absolutely.
All right, well, thank you.
Thank you all. Have a great night.
Thank you, Eric.
Take care.
Community services.
Yeah, so the first item is award of a bid for the lighting project along the Community Park Trail Phase 2. Our budget this year, capital improvement program, includes an allotment of $125,000 for this. It'll install 17 lights along the portion of the trail that I've outlined several times. We received 5 bids for this on Monday. The low bid was Joseph Shear Electrical at a cost of $125,497.85. This bid was reviewed, yes, 85 cents, yes. The bid was reviewed by the design engineer for this, Trans Associates. They're recommending award. I would recommend award as well. Joseph Shear's worked for the township probably, I don't know how many times over the past decade. I mean, dozens probably. I mean, they've come in and done a lot of our facilities. They actually installed the lighting along Topnick Road, so they're familiar with this project, with what they're going to be installing. So it's my recommendation that we award the bid for this project to Joseph Shear Electrical Contractor at a cost not to exceed $125,497.85.
Okay, I did have one question. I know on Topnick Drive, we were having some issues with the lighting there, that they were hoping to discover what was causing that and resolve it before we did this part of the project. Has that been resolved?
It's my understanding that was already resolved.
Okay.
Yeah.
Within the last year or so.
All right, thank you. Anyone else have any questions?
Ryan, I might have missed it, but when approximately would it begin? Is it
We-
summer?
Probably. I mean, the lead time on these poles is months. So I think you're probably looking at late summer, honestly. Yeah. I can report back when we have a pre-construction meeting, but you're probably looking at least at July or August.
All right, any other questions? All right, then can I get a motion to award the contract to Joseph Shearer Electric for the installation of lights along the Community Park Trail Phase 2 in an amount not to exceed $125,497.85 per the manager's memo dated April 23rd?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Shuley,
Favor.
Ms. Blackburn,
Favor.
Ms. Fritsch,
Favor.
Mr. Midgley,
Favor.
Dr. Johnson.
Favor. All right, Public Works and Parks and Recreation monthly reports. Anything to add?
I have nothing else unless anybody has any questions.
All right, thank you. Environmental Services.
Thank you, Madam President. Beside my monthly report, I just wanted to take a moment just want to update Council. A little over 24 hours after our last meeting, Mother Nature decided to dump over 3 inches of additional rainfall on the township. During that time between Thursday and Friday, our entire treatment plant basically went underwater again. We were very fortunate. We were only a couple inches before water breached its way into our building, which would be total devastation. So dodge a bullet there. As a part of all of that, we did have several manholes that were affected, that were knocked over due to the extreme rain event and flooding taking place in our waterways. Staff has worked tirelessly over the past 2 weeks to get those manholes back up in operation with the assistance of DCS helping us out through this process. We have had one of those manholes permanently repaired, so that manhole hopefully will not be an issue moving forward, and we have a few more coming in the next few weeks. So under the emergency permit, we have the DEP to get that taken care of. So we are trying to get through those issues we've been facing with these flood waters recently. So that's all I have. I'll see any questions.
Anyone have any questions? All right, thank you. Sewer plant construction update.
Good evening, all.
Good evening.
I'd say good to see you again, but I saw most of you yesterday, so. You have a copy of a hard copy of the report in front of you, and there's one on SharePoint. I just want to take a quick second to go through a couple quick points on the report, point some things out to you. In the very first paragraph, there's an analysis of the amount of money that the project entails. The change orders that you approved last month have not yet been incorporated into those numbers. So I pointed that out in the report. Just a couple of other things. Jim mentioned the flood that he had down at the plant. Some good news for you. The design concept for this particular project was to raise that plant 8 feet. None of the construction areas were flooded. The areas around them were, but none of the actual areas themselves were. Now, not only is that excellent news, but in the design of the facility, most of the electrical concepts that were put in, or designs that were put in, were raised even higher than the floor levels, which makes logical sense. But they also made sure that they were above the 500-year flood stage. So it seems that the design of getting it out of the floodway, so the situation that was experienced by Mr. Degnan and his team last week, I guess, and Ryan was there too, from what I understand, would not happen. If the water would have risen over the upper step of the control building, then it would have been catastrophic. You'd have lost the whole plant. Unfortunately, that should not happen in the future. A couple of other quick things. We have a minor problem. It's nothing that we can control. The plant's electrical system is designed around the idea of drawdowns on MCC switches. An order was placed for the MCC 200 switch, which would be fed off the transformer pole, in September of 2002. We were told in January of 23, July of 23, Christmas of 23, that we would see that particular unit. We were told at the construction meeting this week that we'll be lucky to see it shipped in May. So the bad news part of that is that we can't switch the plant over without that switch. We have to have that switch. There's two switches, an MCC 600 and MCC 200. I'm trying not to be too technical here, but in simplistic terms, it's like a light switch in your living room. If there's no light switch, you can't turn on the lights. So we have to have that switch. Unfortunately, I wish I could say I was confident that it'll ship in May. I think it might be manufactured in May. We'll be lucky to see it by the end of the calendar year, but we'll keep a good thought. You're going to look at 4 change order requests next month. There will be one that will be significant. And my definition of significant is 6 figures or more. It has to do with the security and electrical systems in the plant, how the doors are going to be handled and how we're going to connect to them and how conduit is going to be connected to them. Mr. Horvat will be here to walk you through each and every one of those change orders. We have plenty of room within our contingencies. We're not totally shockingly surprised, but it is a significant change order compared to the credits that you've been getting lately. I didn't want you to be surprised for it. The next construction meeting is on May the 28th. We'll have a better idea of where engineering is with regard to their contract. They had told us that they would like to discuss the possibility of an amendment to their existing administration inspection contract because they have been doing work in that contract that technically did not have to do with the original design of the facility. For example, the SCADA systems for the pump stations. But Mr. Horvat will go through all that. And just so you're aware, with the $3 million payment requests that were approved this week. You've spent $33,475,052. I think it's like 21 cents. With regard to this project, there's another $21,503,000 still remains on the existing contracts. That's without any potential change orders. You will be looking at a higher amount, but not too significantly higher. Overall, we're doing pretty well considering everything. This is what I used to call in Hampton flood season. The worst part of flood season is in May. The only problem when the plant floods now is not that the construction areas are affected, it's the teams that are working can't get to those areas to do construction. So we could be looking at some delays, especially around the watering building. I don't know how they're going to get to it if it floods like normal. But we'll deal with those situations as we go through. If you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them. And I was asked to ask you to ponder when you'd like to have another tour. So let us know and we'll make an arrangement. Keep in mind we have to get the permission from the contractor to do that because they're technically on the site. Any questions I can help you with?
Chris, what was the original timeline on that switch? When was it supposed to be delivered?
Okay, it was ordered in September of 22. It was supposed to be delivered by Christmas, wasn't it?
So at this point, we're already several months late. What's the implication?
We're over a year late.
Sorry,
Years late.
years late. So if that does not come in as May, which they've said it will, and you say it won't,
I don't feel
what is the
confident.
implication? Can they'll be able to continue working on other aspects?
Yes. Yeah, one of the things you'll note in the report is that Mealy, Clista, and KLH are going to hold a meeting this month to reset the schedule.
Okay.
And Clista has more than enough work to keep them busy without the MCC switches being in play. Mealy has all the dewatering building and the garages. I mean, they don't have a problem at all.
Okay.
The problem we have is that this design, if you will, was established in such a way that we bring the plant online in phases. Okay, we can't do anything about that switch, and that's going to drive this poor gentleman nuts because he's trying to juggle multiple phases of operation. And he has to use part of the old plant and part of the new plant. He doesn't know when the new plant's going to actually switch over, but I mean that's based on the supply situations that we've dealt with. This is the only really bad one. We've been pretty lucky to get our hands on almost everything we've needed. For some reason, I don't know what the deal is with this switch.
These switches are made in Mexico.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, no matter who you go to for these units, every manufacturer globally is backlogged, and you wait in line. And they get to it, You're at the mercy of these manufacturers. There's no other way around it.
Do we have
try
it?
everything.
Do we have any leverage, like liquidated damages, delay penalties?
We do in the contract, but they're nowhere near that.
This isn't the contractor's fault.
No.
I would say this is a manufactured product, and they have gone to multiple suppliers to see if they can do workarounds and other manufacturers to see if we can get it from somewhere else. They can't. So,
I even talked to one of Mealy's representatives and said, I know this isn't really what you want to do, but can we beg, borrow, and steal from other projects? Because they're a major player. They can't get the product, period.
Anywhere for any of the projects?
No. So we're stuck with that particular item. Is it the end of the world? No. Can we continue to do the project? Yeah, we're okay. It's just, it will have an effect on our operational timeline, which is a little bit aggravating to us. It's not going to have a dramatic effect on the township or yourself or the plant or anything along that line from the standpoint of providing the current services that you're getting. It's just, it's a lot nicer to bring it up in phases, and if something goes wrong, have the contractors and everybody in hand and in sight, and then say, okay, we have to make these operational adjustments. Keep in mind that when this plant is brought online, it will be operated significantly different, is that a fair statement, than it's operated today. Significantly different. So how it's brought up is really critical from the operator's standpoint. So
Just one more thing real quick. So you're confident it's just when, not if, this part arise. I guess my question is
I would hope-
there a plan B to say, okay, is there a design change we have to make to get a part that is available? Or we're just sitting here waiting?
I don't think we can make a design change.
I don't think they can either. We believe the product is coming. It's just
When?
when.
Realistically, I would be absolutely ecstatic if it was here by July 4th. I think you're looking.
This year, 2024.
Yeah, I'm sorry, July 4th of this year. Yeah. I would say realistically, what do you think, the fall? Because here's the problem that I have with it, and that Mealy can't answer, and neither can KLH. Has it been manufactured?
Yeah, are they starting at least, or is it in this schedule at least to manufacture something?
Well, they don't know, because it's manufactured in Mexico. When we get notification of it being completed is when they ship it. They say, okay, we're shipping it, so we know it's done.
Yeah.
We don't know if it's been, we have no idea. So we're a little bit frustrated, but frankly, the contractors have been excellent. They've been working well together. It is very unusual for a project this size, at this late game of the project, to be quite honest with you, that the two contractors aren't at each other's throat. And we're usually pulling them apart. They've been great. They have absolutely been fantastic. Calista put an army of electricians in the plant in the last 2 weeks to catch up with work because Mealy needed it to be done. Mealy's people are flying all over the place doing everything they need to do. The exterior walls of the dewatering building are almost done. So, I mean, they are flying.
Yeah.
If we can get that switch, I mean, the project's scheduled to end in June of 25. Okay, maybe September. But they might be able to get what I would consider the key points of it done. You're going to be shaking out this project for years, just so you know. I mean, this is an extensive project. There'll be little things that Jim's team will find throughout the. For example, you're going to get change order, okay? This one was one in which we tried to save money, but you know, sometimes when you're penny wise, you're pound foolish. Above the two entry gates that go into the screens, in an attempt to save money, Jim suggested we'll open them manually. These gates go from this ceiling to that floor, and they're wide from that wall over to me. How much like to sit there and go like this one? A quarter inch for every, what, 10 turns?
Once a week.
Once a week.
Once a week, that's correct.
So we're going to have to place motors on those two particular screens. I mean, there's little things we're going to bump into. We're bumping into them now, but we have not bumped into what I would consider a major faux pas from engineering standpoint or from the contractor standpoint. Mealy is a little submittal fuzzy. You know, he likes to play games with little things, but they all do. So, you know, and I have to say, KLH has been very actively representing the township. Rob Borbat doesn't take any crap from anyone. So, it's been great.
Chris,
Yeah.
I would welcome another tour, of course, whenever. First question, talking about switch MCC, what does that mean? And like, how big is this thing? I'm thinking a light switch. That's not, obviously
No.
wrong.
Size of an engine block.
Yep.
On a vehicle.
Okay.
It's quite large.
So it's not like as big as this room.
It's in the tens of thousands of dollars.
Wow.
So-
What's it stand for?
I don't know what MCC stands for, to be quite
Oh,
honest.
Motor Control Center.
Motor Control Center? Okay. Thank you.
Sure, here to help.
You know what? All I've listened to is acronyms from this whole project.
Too many.
Okay.
Too
I know
many
what
everywhere.
it does and why it does it.
So it doesn't stand for Macaulay, but that's what I usually put MCC for.
And then another thing, I'm really good at ignorant questions, so I'll ask one. Is there a point, you know, we're about 60% completion, so to speak?
We're now,
Right.
we're there now.
Is there a point, like 80%, 90%, where it's like, okay, no more change orders?
No.
That doesn't exist. They exist the whole way through at any point.
Okay. The way the plant's designed and the way the construction was designed is to build what I call the plant. The SBRs, the dewatering building, the UV building, the headworks. When that's done, okay, part of this project includes a fairly substantial garage office area, and that particular item, for example, could be, you know, the design gets to be put done, and Jim and his team sit back and say, boy, you know, we would really need an additional electrical fee. That could occur in February of '25, because they're not gonna get to that point of that building until probably that particular point. They're not the ones that concern me. The ones that concern me in projects like this is, you have to get out of the ground. Once you're out of the ground, you're okay. The only part of this project right now that concerns me with regard to another significant, well, I know that the pump station one's gonna come down the pipe. The only other thing that is an unknown right now is that wall. There is a wall that stretches the length of that plant from, I can't think of their names, Doug and Heather Paxton, from the Paxton property all the way the length of the plant, the whole, and that particular wall, and the way that thing is gonna be set, and the fact that it's gonna be set over top of what now is currently the existing plant, which will be torn all out. I'm afraid of Pandora's box. You know, when all of a sudden we start yanking things out of the ground and then installing things. So I could see, I wouldn't be overly shocked if there's $250,000 adjustment there too. If I was gonna guess it right now, I'm still with my original guess with Jerry. Somewhere around 1.8 will be left, somewhere around in that area, maybe more. But either way, I still feel very, very confident we'll be well within the contingency. And if there's a delay, the value of the delay to the township is the fact that you're holding the money longer and you're racking up interest investment earnings, which I understand are significant. So, I mean, at least you're winning on the other side.
I will say we have two contingencies. One that was in the contract bid.
Right.
The second one is we ended up borrowing, the bonds are greater than what the contract amount was. So we have two areas that we have a little bit of cushion to deal with some of these things.
The one change order you're gonna get with regard to the electrical side that you're gonna deal with Calista next month is gonna eat up a portion of the contract contingency plus a change order. It is a significant amount. So, but it's part of the game we're playing. We're not over, again, I don't think there's anything that they've dropped on us that's really concerned us. And since your last tour, I don't know if you've driven by or seen it, it has significantly changed, significantly. And everything we told the residents, by the way, was very accurate. We said you would look at about a 28-foot high wall with another 35 feet on top of it, like a building. So I said, if you stay on Monroe Boulevard, you're not going to be able to see the Dunkin' Avenue. It's going to be totally covered by it.
Look at it from Cole Avenue.
I know. Yeah, as a matter of fact, on top of yeah, it's on top of the UB building or the Headworks building. Where you
top of the electric.
if you stand there and you look over to Churchill, you're even with the houses.
You can see the windows.
Yes, you're even with the houses. Wow. So it's dramatic. But hey, there's the good news. There shouldn't be odors that the residents will complain about. So we'll keep a good thought about that one and hope for the best. But and the current plant can pump what, about 7 million during a flood?
We can handle 12.
Maybe.
Now we're down to about 9 because of equipment failures that we cannot replace. But the new facility will be up to 21.
Yeah. So we should never have to shut the gate. Well, hopefully. Hopefully, we should never have to shut the gate.
Yeah. Never say never.
Yeah, you never say never, because you never know about the weather around here anymore.
Yes. All right, so in terms of a tour, what does everyone want to do? Another Saturday or another Wednesday prior to a council meeting? What works better?
Saturday works better if you're asking me for my preference,
Mhm.
and when it's a little bit warmer.
I second.
It was
Second, Julie's
warmer.
recommendation.
Today would not be an example.
All right, do we want to look at a Saturday in the second half of May where hopefully
Yes.
we'll be beyond
There it
Mother's Day
is.
and beyond any frosts?
Yes.
All right, I'll send out an email asking everybody what days work the best there.
I couldn't,
Right.
I couldn't agree with you. I couldn't agree with you more. I'm wearing a vest. No, I never wear vests, and these guys who went, I am so, I have been so cold since I returned.
From Arizona.
Yeah.
It looks
Yes,
very
yeah,
nice
we're not
with your
going to feel
shirt,
too
Chris.
sorry for you.
I like the color coordination there.
I'll tell Janet you were happy. Thanks a lot.
Sorry, I have to get back to the agenda and my iPad is not cooperating. There we go. All right. Anything else under environmental services?
I have nothing unless you have questions.
Doesn't seem like it. Zoning and planning, please.
Okay, thank you, Madam President. So for the Fry Cane preliminary PRD, we have not received revised plans from the applicant yet. So there are still the outstanding items on the stormwater side. There still is the approval from the developer of Winmont Farms to give them access to modify the pipe that's running along South Pioneer. So they're not in order for a vote tonight. And that's okay because we don't have to give a vote tonight, so I would just recommend that we carry this over into May.
All right. Do we have to have an official motion and vote to cover it, or
I
just?
don't think so,
Nope.
yeah.
Okay. All right. Next item, then, please.
Okay, the Indian Spring Lane simple subdivision, as I mentioned in my memo, this is ready for a vote. There's no outstanding items. I'm recommending approval of the modification for the frontage along a private road. A motion with conditions of approval was prepared and forwarded to council, so I would be recommending approval subject to that tonight.
Did anyone have any questions about this? All right, then can I get a motion to approve the Indian Spring Lane Simple Subdivision, application 2403, subject to and contingent upon the conditions as outlined in the Land Use Administrator's memo dated April 18th, 2024.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Blackburn?
Favor.
Ms. Fritsch?
Favor.
Mr. Midgley?
Favor.
Mr. Sholey?
Favor.
Dr. Johnson?
Favor.
And then for the referrals, it's just one this month, so this is the final phase of the Four Seasons subdivision review. So they've submitted that. That will go in front of Planning Commission and EAC in June and Council in July.
Any questions? All right, then can I get a motion to, excuse me, to refer the Four Seasons Final Subdivision Land Development Application 2404 to the appropriate boards and commissions?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Fritsch?
Favor.
Mr. Midgley?
Favor.
Mr. Sholey?
Favor.
Ms. Blackburn?
Favor.
Dr. Johnson?
Favor.
And I have nothing to add to my report unless there are questions.
Doesn't seem like it. All right, moving on to old business.
Looking forward to my first pints in the park.
It is a wonderful event.
You've earned
I know you're looking forward to it, Rob.
It won't be my first.
I don't see the pool countdown.
Oh, good point.
Where's the
We
pool
need the
countdown?
pool countdown.
You will get it.
Oh, yes, I'm sure she's counting down the days.
We'll be on the next one.
Kevin Flannery had an app on his phone where he would start counting down the days and would actually report when we were several months away and it was still bitterly cold outside.
Adam, you have an assignment tomorrow.
Alice may have it on her phone.
All right. New business.
Is that usually the last day?
Anything?
I do not have anything now.
All right, does anyone else have anything that they would like to add for new business? All right, then I will adjourn this evening's meeting. Thank you everyone for coming tonight.
See you all on Friday.
Oh, yeah,
Yes, oh yes.